Hey y'all, hey, what up? Oh, that's so dirty. Where is my glasses? Oh, I don't know what I did with it. Anyway, hi. So, y'all know who it is. It's your girl, Vanshay, aka Melanated Dope. Come on in the room. We finna get ready to read. Okay? This might be the best I'm gonna be able to do because I don't know what my thing is, and I'm not gonna get up to go look for it. Okay. Anyway, welcome in, you guys. Come on in. It is a beautiful Jupiter's day. Okay. Um, the planet Jupiter. Okay. Tuesday aligns with the planet. I mean, Thursday aligns with the planet Jupiter. Jupiter is our planet of expansion, abundance. Okay. It is our get money, our coin, right? And then this morning, a hometown homie inboxed me their EP, and the very first song is called Check. It's about running up a check, getting to the check, getting to the money. I said, that's one thing niggas gonna do. We gonna get to the check. And I was like, how appropriate that he sent me this on this beautiful Jupiter day. So yeah, I'll be playing that song some throughout the day. I told y'all yesterday I went live. It was on Instagram, but when I stream from the StreamYard software, it doesn't automatically save on Instagram. So y'all, you can't see the playback unless you go to YouTube, which is Melanated's Reflections, or Facebook, Von Space Shay, which are all in the link on the bio. Okay? Okay. All right. Now that I am hydrated, let's get into it. Y'all, I be wanting to be I be wanting to be all professional, like the girl, like you know what I'm saying, with the proper backdrop. And I'm gonna get there one day. I'm gonna get there because I've been doing this for too long not to get my setup. However, I really just I just be winging it. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing, I don't have a script. And I think that that is something that I'm about to start looking into. It's like sitting down and doing a play by play of how I want this to go, spirit chat to go. But then my ADHD gonna kick in, and then it goes however it goes. Okay. All right. So yesterday we read chapters 3 and 4, right? Which I'm trying to get back to. But chapter 3 and 4 were basically Juju. Oh, we're reading the book of Juju by Juju Bay. Y'all know that this is a Juju Bay stand account. Um, she has been. She don't. I mean, I think she knows it by now because I tag her in almost everything I do that is of her work. But if she don't know by now, she is like my low key spiritual advisor, and it has been since 2017. Okay, when she dropped a little Juju podcast. Okay. So yeah, when she dropped the little Juju podcast, that was like my mom had transitioned that year, and things were just I was so lost. And then Juju led me to Levon Briggs and so on and so forth. And we'll be reading her book too. May probably next, okay? But right now we are on the book of Juju, recapping chapters 3 and 4. Chapters 3 and 4 were about hoodoo and the ancestors. So she just gives us a good little background, cute background of hoodoo and some of the ancestors in hoodoo. We talked about High John the Conqueror, who has a root that's named after him, which literally just had, and now it is gone. I don't know what I did with it, but it's around here because I know I just had it, but I know I moved it so I wouldn't knock it over somewhere and still misplaced it. But anyway, so we talked about High John, we talked about Aunt Caroline died, we talked about Zora Neale Hurston. Um, Zora Neale Hurston, what up, Gail? Zora Neale Hurston was a hoodoo scholar. She was an anthropologist, and what they do is they study people. And she studied black people, and she wrote many of books. One in particular, which was Barracuda, was the first one to be actually published and recognized, and that was in 2015. And she had been gone on to the ancestor realm. Okay, so we give honor to Zora Neale Hurston, and some other ancestors, John Henry. You know what I'm saying? She talks about them. She talks about the medicine that hoodoo was not just about the woo woo, the magics, right? Hoodoo is also about medicine, plant medicine. Root workers were not just people who could throw tricks and hexes and bring your lover back to you. The hoodoos were also your rich risings beloved. The hoodoos were also your midwives, okay, birthing babies, healing the sick. Okay, they were the doctors. All right. And then she talks about how she met her ancestors, which was through a dream. And so, anyway, just recapping on that, if you want to go listen to that, um, that's the last. That's the last one. Now, if you're on Instagram, Instagram had flagged me, and then I fought it, and they brought it back. So there's a part 1 and 2 on Instagram, but if you're on Facebook and or YouTube, Melanated's Reflections, okay, Facebook, Von Shay, you can go find the whole video. And y'all know throughout the video, I might pause through the reading and say a little two cents, put my little 2 cents in. So yeah, there's that. So they just a reading straight through. You know what I'm saying? If anybody pops in on the live, I try to engage in the conversations as well. So if you guys, if as I'm reading, you guys have any questions or any comments or anything pops in your head, drop it in the chat and we're gonna talk about it, okay, as I look up, you know what I'm saying? And in between here to take sips of water. All right. So chapter 5, we are going to get into the meat of the ancestors with what is ancestor veneration. Okay. If Juju taught me nothing else, the very first thing she taught me was that the ancestors always come first in anything that you do. When you desire to do some work, go to your ancestors. You know, you want to bring in some money, you want to bring in a lover, you want to, whatever you need, whatever you desire, go to the ancestors. I know it's pretty, it's beautiful to go to all these other deities and gods and goddesses, but the same people who raised you, who prayed for you when they were in the physical realm, are the same people, the same deities, the same entities, the same spirits that are watching over you and praying for you in the spirit realm. Okay? So, without further ado, let's get into it. All right. Oh, lost my page. My God. All right. To put it simply, ancestor veneration is the process of giving reverence to the deceased who still have the ability to influence and intervene in the affairs of the living. Veneration, however, is not worship. As Oluwo Jagbodo Orunmila, an elder in the Yoruba tradition, states, and I'm so sorry if I butchered that. I don't speak Yoruba, so you know I be trying. I be trying. In Yoruba culture, we pay homage to the people before us. We don't worship them. As a matter of fact, worshiping in the Abrahamic context is very alien to Yoruba culture. This is critical to understand because the word worship is often used to describe the action of those who practice ancestral spiritualisms when they are honoring ancestors. Okay? Worship often has a connotation of fully submitting to something as a godlike figure. Please understand when I say that the ancestors are not gods. Okay? Let me say that again. The ancestors are not gods. All right. The ancestors are also not God. Big G. Okay? The ancestors did not necessarily create the moon and the sea. The ancestors are our ancestors, and they deserve a rightful and honorable position in our lives. I love the concept of ancestral veneration because it allows us to find the power and honor with spirits that are not God. Big G. Okay. If we were socialized through Western religion, we often only trust God, talk to God, and feel that only this outside, all powerful male entity can understand us. Conversely, when venerating ancestors, we can connect with multiple spirits that love and support us. We can find protection not only outside ourselves, but within our own boundaries. I'm sorry, within our own bodies, the trees outside our homes, the flowers we pass on the way to work, and the beach that we visit on vacation, because our ancestors live in the natural world. Ancestral veneration also gives me the ability to have more compassion for humanity, as our ancestors were once human and still managed to sacrifice for us, even though their own personal trials and issues. Okay? Even through their own personal trials and issues. The godliness that we seek is not only found in a God, but in our everyday lives, situations, and the people around us. This to me creates a more holistic understanding of the spirit world and how its holiness penetrates every aspect of our lives. Let us continue to find space to venerate more than, than one powerful, all knowing God, and also honor the spirits that live in us too. That in itself has helped me understand God much more deeply. Ancestors are entities and spirits who advocate for and support us even after their death. Okay. Ancestors are entities and spirits who advocate for and support us even after their death. And because of that, we honor their work and sacrifices they have made in the course of taking care of us. The acceptance of the ancestors, as well as other cultural deities within traditional African practices, is often incorrectly classified as polytheistic, belief in multiple gods. Although there are, of course, some polytheistic ATRs, I believe that the lack of understanding and projection of westernized Abrahamic religious thought patterns has determined all African and descended religions as polytheistic, when that is simply not true. On the contrary, African and African descended excuse me, African and African descended spiritual beliefs such as Ifa, Odanani, Vodun, Akan, Candomblé, Palo Mayombe, Hoodoo, and Santeria are monotheistic, or at least henotheistic, meaning they believe in one source but accept the existence of other deities, but are often incorrectly mislabeled as polytheistic practices. Monotheism and henotheism are acknowledgments that there is a belief in a powerful creator, source, God, while addressing the very important roles of other forces and entities that are still valued and worthy of veneration and acknowledgement. This acknowledgement of other spirits, however, does not denounce the fact that there is still only one primary creator source. Western understandings of these diasporic systems have created incorrect assumptions about the roles of ancestors and other deities in our lives, which further confuses these practices as idol worship and a lack of godliness. For example, within Haitian Vodou, Bondi, Bondaye, Bondi, I don't know, Bondi, uh, is the name of the all-powerful being who created the universe and everything in it. Because Bondi is a powerful and transcendent, he has no direct connection with humans who may need assistance with their issues and problems. You put the chair in, put the shower chair in the bathroom, in the tub. All right. This is why the laos, or spirits within Haitian Vodou, serve as intermediaries between humans and Bondi. When watching or participating in a Vodou ceremony, one may see veneration and celebration of a specific or sometimes multiple Lao. Loa. Loa. I think it's Loa. Loa. Someone who does not understand this may think Vodou practitioners are polytheistic because it could look like they are praising multiple gods. However, these ceremonial endeavors are not to be understood as worship of different gods, but rather acknowledgement of God's power as it works through these intermediaries. Okay? Intermediaries. Okay, so where was I? Sorry. Through these intermediaries who interact with us in our daily experiences here on earth. Okay. Hold on, y'all. Sorry. Okay. This dynamic is similar to how we should view our ancestors. I've learned that the English language, coupled with dominant Abrahamic belief systems, makes it extremely difficult to accurately communicate how other folks throughout the world create cosmological understandings. Let me pause here because I've been seeing a lot since she brought up the English language, right? I've been seeing a lot of discourse online about people who like to say grand risings, or I like to say rich risings, and they talk about the etymology of how mourning, Mourning, and morning, Morning, and the meanings of them. You know what I'm saying? But these words, the English language was created as a spell, and I can't get you Google niggas to understand that you can't Google some of these things, that you actually got to read it in a book. Okay? And I can't remember the book. I don't always read the book. Sometimes I watch the videos of the people who wrote the book talking about it. And when I like John Henry Clark, Dr. Clark did the work. He went in the catacombs. He was down in the tombs with very little to no light. That man died. He transcended, damn near blind, going in those catacombs. So again, when we're talking about the English language, I need y'all to know that all these words sound alike for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, I get it. I get it. But there's a reason for all of it. And so dig deeper. You know what I'm saying? Maybe one day I will come across a couple of John Henry Clark's books and a couple of other people. Dr. Barashango. That's who I wasn't thinking. I couldn't remember. He was another one that talked about these different meanings and why they all sound alike and how the English language came about. Bobby Hemmett. I think that's his name. He's another one. Okay, so there are people who've already read the books, wrote the books, and they do lectures, and these lectures are available on YouTube. Okay, so and so when we talk about the English language, know that it's a reason why it's so crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want you uh, to be in alignment. Culture. When we talk about other cultures, other ethnicities, other languages, their languages are beautiful, spoken with. They don't have a lot of hateful words. You get what I'm saying? Like there are words in other languages, like for instance Spanish. My girlfriend, she speaks fluent Mexican Spanish, and she learned this by singing, by being around them, but also through the music. And she was singing a song to me one day, and I said, okay, what does it mean in English? And she was like, some of these words just don't translate. There are no English words for some of these words, so she has to more so describe the phrases. You get what I'm saying? All right. So dig a little bit deeper when y'all get to talking about the English, because it is a spell. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna read that paragraph over. This dynamic is similar to how we should view our ancestors. I've learned that the English language, coupled with dominant Abrahamic belief systems, makes it extremely difficult to accurately communicate how other folks throughout the world create cosmological understandings. The limitations have caused a breach in the ancient wisdoms that so many of us are journeying to remember, with our ancestors at the head of the class. Venerating ancestral spirits dates back to the mid 4000s BCE in ancient Mesopotamia, one of the oldest documented civilizations in the entire world. So this ain't new shit. See, the beautiful part about venerating ancestors is that this belief has extended beyond regions, countries, centuries, religions, and languages. Most cultures have some form of honoring their deceased loved ones and acknowledge the presence of those loved ones even after they have departed. Pause here. Let's talk about the Chinese, the Mexicans, okay? The Japanese. Like these other cultures, they honor their ancestors and dead. And when you be going into these nail salons, these Vietnamese shops, Korean, so on and so forth, and you see that cute little fortune cake, what y'all think that is? Okay, that like it ain't just for show. You know what I'm saying? All these we'll overlook it. You know what I'm saying? But all these other cultures, they venerate their ancestors. But also, let's talk about how these other cultures uphold their elders. And Black people, we do it too. But it's dying. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is a lot of us don't go sit at the foot of our elders, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers, if we still have them, if we are so blessed. Okay, my grandma's gone, my mother is gone, but I still got all my aunts and stuff. So I be asking questions. I be sitting at for the elders. You know what I'm saying? And by talking to them, you are also honoring your ancestors, okay? Because the knowledge that they have came from them. You get what I'm saying? Okay, all right. Continue on. There are hundreds of thousands of cultures spanning from ancient China to ancient Greece that have very extensive rituals to honor the dead. Acknowledging the role of the deceased is a belief that most cultures can generally agree on, regardless of religion, creed, race, or native tongue. It is one of the oldest systems we have. Although I am writing this book as a practitioner of multiple African and diasporic practices focused on people descended from Africans, I encourage all individuals to research their indigenous pre-Christian Islamic histories, ancient stories, and cosmologies as a way to connect to ancestral rites and belief systems in ways that honor your specific lineage. Okay, because I know that everybody ain't Black, African descended. that follow me and be listening to me. Go look, you know what I'm saying? Go follow the breadcrumbs. Go unbury your dead. You know what I'm saying? And do all the things. I have yet to go do an ancestry DNA thing. I'm gonna do that one day. I don't know. I just have my own personal beliefs behind it, but I would like to do it. I gotta trust the people behind it, right? So anyway, with all that being said, go unbury your dead people. Um, regardless of regardless of who you are, you have some ancestors that existed pre and post colonialism, and whichever side or sides you may be on when it comes to that colonialism, you've got some ancestors who are probably starved for your attention and can give you a bit more context about who you are outside your individual racial makeup. In this book, I will provide many examples of how ancestral veneration shows up for African descended people. None of what I'm sharing is a complete secret, and much of what you can learn about your lineage can be sourced through research and conversation. As you take in this information, I encourage you to trust your ancestral eye to evaluate it. This term was inspired by a post from fellow practitioner Chelsea Neeson some years ago. Chelsea mentioned that taking in information with discernment and intuition has been extremely helpful to her. In short, taking in information with the ancestral eye is the way to see beyond what's in front of you. Okay, we talk about utilizing the spirit of discernment a lot. Okay, and one thing I do know about y'all on the internet is a lot of y'all lack discernment. Okay, especially around black things like this new movie, The Deliverance. I ain't gonna go down I'm not gonna do that, but y'all know what I mean. Like ancestral eye. Okay, you gotta lean into that. And the only way you can lean into that is if you start venerating your ancestors so they can pull up and whisper in your ear. Okay? Whether with words, ideas, writings, or something else, sometimes your ancestors fill in gaps for you. A secret spell or information that is presented to you in a very general way may be difficult to parse, but your mind's eye can spell it out clearly for you even when the words don't. if you if you can learn to access your ancestral eye, okay, think of this ability as that look that you may receive from a family member or a friend when something sounds like some bullshit, or the one an adult may have given you when you were acting up in the public as a child. Okay, those ancestral. You know how I like to like when my ancestors be getting on to me, I always think back to how my mama would look when I was sitting next to her in church. You know what I'm saying? And or that pinch she would give me. Okay, where she had a hand right here and she just reach over and get me real quick. I like to think of when the ancestors get on to me. That's how I think about that. That's how I see that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that look tells you a million words without even one breath taken. Use that same energy as you read this book and as you're processing any resource that seeks to share information with you about your ancestral rights or knowledge. If someone is sharing a prayer, does it resonate with you? Do you need to change some of the words around before you chant it? Who does this information come from, and what is the person's motive in sharing it with you? Are you having visions or thoughts that feel like you are reading something that you're supposed to? Okay. Oh, prayers for my. Oh, I do believe you're spam. Oh, what up? I'm gonna have to go block that person on Facebook because I've seen them before. Where am I? Are you having visions or thoughts that feel like you are reading something that you're supposed to? Are your ancestors giving you that look as you take in the information? Perhaps you feel jittery or you get hot while learning history about your people. I, that be me. Like I'll get I'll start to feel something. I feel like I need to do something like right then and there. I'd be like, okay, that's okay, spirit, ancestors, I got y'all. Let me them. Let me them. And that's that spirit of discernment. See how all of this is connected. Mm-hmm. That ancestral eye is your intuition, and it's a powerful gift that has kept our people safe and connected for hundreds of years. So trust it. As you'll learn on this journey, there are a lot of rituals, rites, and secrets within ATRs and ADRs. I won't be sharing any of those, but I do want to put you on the path of finding out for yourself. Regardless of who you are or your current religious affiliation, ancestral veneration is for you. And it is especially for those I'm talking to directly. Black folks, Negroes, melanated, the original people, African American, black skinned, whatever you may call yourself. I mean you. Okay? Basically saying this is for my niggas, strictly for my niggas. This is for my niggas. The real niggas. I love Juju Bay. I love Juju Bay. Okay. She had when she be having merch. I don't think she has it anymore. But she used to have merch that said "Make Hoodoo Black Again." I love that because she gatekeeping is important. You know what I'm saying? If you black, hoodoo is for you. Okay. This is a black American because they like to play in our faces and say that we don't have culture, that we don't know where we came from. Bitch, I came from here. I ain't never known nothing but here. I acknowledge my roots in the other land, but my culture built this shit. My people built this shit. You get what I'm saying? Okay. Anyway, getting off that. Getting off that soapbox. Let's jump into chapter 6. Why does ancestral veneration matter? Let me see. How long is this? Because will we make it to chapter 7? Or we might not make it to chapter 7. Oh, no, we're definitely not making it to chapter 7. What time is it? Because I want. Oh, let's see. Let's read. All right. Chapter 6. Why does ancestral veneration matter? If I can channel my inner Hotep for a second, I'd love to briefly get this out of the way. Yes, Gail, you should buy this book immediately. It's like $18. Okay, I love it. I, and she also got the Audible. Okay. Why do you think that society has hidden your ancestral traditions from you? Why do you think that greater society has erased thousands upon thousands of years of indigenous ancestral wisdom? Why do you think oral tradition and history have been seen as less valid forms of information sharing? Why, when you think of science, do you see white men in lab coats and not melanated people using binary coding and the mathematics of probability through throwing shells or coins? Who told your auntie that you're practicing witchcraft because you saw a psychic or even stopped going to church? Whom does this viewpoint benefit, and is it you? It isn't. You have to see where I'm going with this. Do you see? Do you see where she's going with this? Who benefits from your ignorance of your ancestral ways? Okay. Who benefits from your ignorance? Period. Who has been keeping you from knowing how to read, from gaining proper education? Who keeps moving that goalpost? Who? Who? Okay, all right. Jumping out of my hotepiness, okay? But that was a whole sermon in that first paragraph. Who? As we will discuss later in this book, colonialism has done a number on Black folks and subsequently all of us. The demonization of Black ancestral practices was deliberate and ongoing. Gail says, I will talk. I will talk till I'm blue in the face about this. Yes. Okay? Like, okay? Because this anti-Blackness, honey, that I be seeing on my feed, I'm so annoyed with it. And it's only on Facebook. It's only in my hometown. Okay? And that's the thing I love hate about Facebook. I love hate the fact that it's mostly hometown people and people I've met in real life. But my Instagram is my spiritual community, so I don't have a lot of that ignorance on Instagram. But on Facebook, baby, y'all be so anti-Black, and I just really be wanting to slap you with the black side of my hand, the backhand, just a good, because y'all be showing out. Who benefits from that ignorance? Who? Okay? Spirit communication, ancestral veneration, divination, and sacrifice had to be degraded in order to successfully control and subjugate a group of people. People who are sure about who they are, who are spiritually and emotionally well resourced, are not good candidates for enslavement and colonialism. Because when you know who you are, my nigga, you become untouchable, unfuckwittable. I see people play in people's faces in IG comments. You are blessed to have cultivated such a wonderful community. Yes. 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 Sometimes I won't even go through comment sections. Sometimes I have to ride through them and my fingers get to going. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I learned a long time ago that people just ignorant and that we cannot take everybody with us. All skin folk and kin folk, and some of y'all niggas gonna get left behind. And I'm sorry for you. And that's just the way it is. Okay? Stripping people from what connected them to their source and each other was a necessary move in the intricate strategy of imperialism. And it worked. And it is working very well. The value of your ancestors was degraded while other folks' ancestors who were not yours were prioritized. Let's talk about them dollar bills. Huh? Let's talk about the coins. Let's talk about money. Every time you spend them dollars with them faces on, you're venerating those people. But when I call out my grandmama, I'm worshiping the devil. But y'all worshiping their gods all the time. I'm just saying. Y'all venerating, not worshiping. You're venerating. But anyway. Anyway. Have you ever spent $1 before? Of course, and y'all look, I ain't read this book. I ain't even see that word. Have you ever spent $1 before? Of course you have. And if you look at most forms of currency, not just in the United States, there is often an image of somebody dead on that money. George Washington's face graces the $1 bill. Abraham Lincoln is on the penny. Andrew Jackson is on the $20 bill. What you say, Gail? I always say religion was the most effective tool of colonization because it is the one practice that is vehemently defended by the colonizers around the world. Okay? Yeah. Gail says, I never thought about money. Right. See? Like even in the littlest ways, we be uplifting their people. It's a system. And again, as I said earlier, English was created as a spell, y'all. It is not, none of this shit is by sheer happenstance. It was constructed, it was put together for their works. They knew our magic worked. They learned it, and then they stole it. Then they stole it from our memories. You understand? By oppressing our people. All right, but we waking up because if you're here, okay, you're answering the call. All right, so where was I? This form of memorializing all these dead white men is America's way of venerating America's ancestors. These dead white men on these bills is America's way of venerating America's ancestors. The ones who stole, genocided, destroyed. We spend all them bills every day and venerate those people. I'm just saying. They know it works. That's why they scared. Scared. That's why they scrambling. That's why they doing all these things that they could do. Okay, to keep us in fear. Oh, I hate that. To keep us in fear, okay? These men are actively being exalted by having their faces and names all throughout the United States currency, okay? Currents flowing, okay? Keeping their names alive. I can't help but stay on the, you just can't help but get hotepi when you start unraveling. You understand me? You can't help but be on your black power shit when you learn like how deep this shit is. All right. Now I'm not related to them. In fact, I hardly think about whose face is on the bill I have to spend. But this is one of the ways in which ancestral veneration is pervasive in our society. And not only that, it sends a clear message about the kinds of ancestors that are worthy of being venerated. Okay? You see that? You see how white America likes ancestral veneration when we're venerating their ancestors. Okay. Their God is one of money. Do you understand me? That's why they put their ancestors on their currency to keep their energy flowing to their God, which is capitalism. Okay? Make no mistakes. Their God is capitalism. All right. Dead white men on money means something to the collective consciousness. The energies of these particular people are being exalted to the highest degree. Yet these folks have very complicated, even horrific histories. Where am I? Even horrific histories that I don't really want to actively uplift. Some of these folks are known slave owners, yet we have all consented to engaging in the gift of exchange with these white men that have been deemed some of the most important ancestors of America. Yes, yeah. That's why they mad about us taking down those racist statues. Yes, because we're killing the spirit. Okay, you stop venerating those ancestors and you cut them off. You get it? Yeah, you cut that currency off. Yeah, it's a way to do it, but we all got to come together, and we are okay. One one live at a time. I often think about the number of dead folks whose names ring bells because they have been deemed important enough to learn about in educational systems and throughout our cultural history. Their energies and spirits get to experience the process of elevation, a coveted desire of many spirits. So I often wonder how different our society would be if we venerated our own spirits with the same fervor and dedication as the people like George Washington or Thomas Jefferson. Ancestral veneration is not completely new to you. Even if you've never used this kind of term, you've acknowledged and regarded someone who has died. You've also participated in ancestral veneration through learning about someone's legacy, witnessing someone be inducted into a Hall of Fame, or running in a marathon named after one of the kindest nuns in your school. I've participated in this very specific example. Ancestral veneration is everywhere, which means that ancestors are everywhere. It really doesn't take a psychic to rely on the importance of ancestors as a society. On a basic level, so much of our surface level daily thoughts and routines are because of the acts of some dead folks. Even the laws to which we are bound as communities are often reflections of a tradition of a specific community that has been enacted by a bunch of dead people. Traditions are valuable, yet the amount of veneration to spirits who may not have had my identity or yours in mind creates an imbalance. Okay? And that's what they want to do. They want to keep us, keep us trying to figure things out. I'd like to see more spirits who looked like me, talked like me, and who were groundbreaking in their respective spaces, honored and valued consistently like other folks. I truly think this would provide an energetic shift that could bring some intentional harmony to the world. It is clear through all these examples that we know ancestors are important and that their legacy impacts our lives. But now, what will we do with that information? Whom will we choose to venerate? Okay. At the end of this section, at the end of this section, she has some little questions. And I try to make sure, sometimes I be forgetting. I try to make sure I post it, but I'm going to read it to you. As you begin connecting with ancestors, what ancestor or ancestors would you like to know more about? Or which ancestor do you think deserves more shine and veneration? Why did you choose them? How may you go about learning more about them and sharing their stories? How do you think the power of their stories would be beneficial to the collective? Pause here. I just want to give honor and grace, okay, to my Uncle Blade, aka Lewis Hewlett. All right, there's a park in my hometown named after my Uncle Blade. He was a commissioner, a county commissioner, right? And as I was reading this, I was like, I have really been wanting to get deeper into my local politics. Okay, so I've been thinking about my Uncle Blade. I've been thinking about also giving honor to my godfather, Oscar Davis Sr., who was also a county commissioner. Again, in me thinking about how I need to get more in tune with the local politics of the town that I'm living in, I think back over my childhood and how I had and now have some powerful niggas on my team. Do you hear me? Do you in thinking about it, I'm like, yo, Papa Davis, yo, Uncle Blade, pull up. You know what I'm saying? Because nigga really, really want to make some changes happen in this town. You know what I'm saying? But in order to do that, I'm gonna need y'all help. You know what I'm saying? To continue that legacy, because while this is kept, we don't talk about these people anymore. Okay? Only on certain occasions. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I got something in the works for my local niggas. Okay? Next section. Ancestor work is everyday medicine. Intense spiritual deprivation from acknowledging our own ancestors affects not only our spirits, but our entire physical bodies and emotions. It affects the kind of society that we live in and the kind of people that we are around. Oh, it's 1010. It's the alignment for me. Spiritual deprivation creates communities that are sick, deprived, and unable to experience the goodness of life. Spirit is not separate from the mundane nature, our food sources, our love lives, our family relationships, and our jobs. The spirit is the battery in the backs of the living. The soul or spirit gives us life. It fuels our journey and improves the quality of our experiences in our flesh. Yet it also seems to be part of us. It also seems to be the part of us that easily gets neglected. When we physically die, our spirit lives on, as it was there in the beginning and will be in the end. Okay? We all have an innate spirit, and we also have spirits that exist within and around us that guide our life journeys. These spirits can go by many names, but I will primarily be referring to the spirit of the ancestors. We have so many ways to seek support in our lives, but outside church services and a few temples, it can be hard to receive access to holistic, HOLISTIC, holistic care that tends to our spirit. An easy example of this extreme focus on our physical fitness and physical health in our society. There are hundreds of medical institutions whose purpose is to help us heal and recover our corporeal well-being. Corporeal meaning body. Root word is corpse. I would not have gotten that if not for corp being in that word. The word of today. Okay, I learned that one. Where was I? Corporeal. We are regularly encouraged to have regular checkups on our eyes, teeth, and rest of our bodies. There are hundreds of thousands of medicines that exist to help our physical forms reach their optimal level. This hyper focus can of course be explained through corporate greed and capitalism making access to bodily care a profitable industry. But there is also a serious neglect of spirit care. Doctors' visits, commercials about every medication under the sun, workouts, gyms, and more bombard our consciousness as a society. However, mental health is rising in the realms of health that we now prioritize. I'm noticing commercials about therapy and mental health that didn't exist 10 years ago. So there is an acknowledgement of mental wellness, but there is still hardly any acknowledgement of the spirit, which is at the core of all of this. Let me pause right here. When I talk about my mental health journey, it would not have happened if I did not get my spiritual health together. Yeah, these glasses are so crooked. But yeah, holistic, the whole, okay? The whole thing. Like everything is connected, and spirit is at the core of it. Your physical, your spiritual, your emotional, your mental well-being are all connected by spirit. And when I got my spiritual right, my mental, my physical, my emotional well-being, all of it has started to really come together. Okay, the work works is all I'm saying. The work works. As you delve more into ancestral systems, you'll see very clearly the connection between the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. In fact, there are some ways to heal ourselves that are rooted in a spiritual issue rather than a problem with our physical or emotional bodies. Sometimes we have physical pains because of certain spirits within our lineage. Sometimes our depression is linked to a group of ancestors who are upset or sad themselves, which in turn affects our mental wellness. Having an ancestrally grounded practice allows us to better pinpoint the reasoning behind our experience. And then, if it is solely spiritual, to seek spiritual medicine that can be prescribed from a trusted practitioner. Okay. My point is not to suggest that we don't need doctors or therapists. We need them and more of them. Rather, my point is to suggest that spiritual medicine is an important addition to our medicinal arsenal. I literally just shared something on Facebook the other day stating that we need more therapists who are spiritually grounded as well. And I really feel like we need more doctors, people, period, in these kind of positions that are spiritually grounded. Everybody. Really, everybody just need to get spiritually grounded. God damn it. Even the McDonald's worker. It'll have all y'all acting better. Okay? It can help gauge the severity of our concerns and point us in the right direction to the proper person who can assist us. Sometimes that's a medical doctor. Sometimes that's a two-headed doctor. And, and most time it's a little bit of both. We may be experiencing headaches because a spirit is trying to get our attention. Ooh, ooh, I heard that. Okay, as I read that, I was thinking about how I went to bed with a headache last night and I don't know where it came from. And then when that thought clicked, I heard a ringing in the ear. Okay, spirit, I hear you. Okay, where was I? Sometimes a stomach ache is the result of eating certain foods that are taboo to us. And if y'all don't know what a taboo is it just simply means something that you ain't supposed to do. Okay? A taboo is a behavior that one should avoid engaging in, per your spirit's choice, in order to support living a better life. For example, after a reading, I was informed that for 16 days I was not allowed to use curse words, as it would subsequently curse me. Curse word for Curse words for those 16 days were a spiritual taboo, and cursing would have harmed me in some way during those days. It's not that I could never say the word bitch again in my life. It's just that I couldn't during those specific days. Okay? Now, I'd be fucked up. Y'all, listen, if I go to a babalawo, right? If or Yanifa or anybody, and they tell me that that's one of my that I can't cuss because that's a spiritual taboo, boy, I'd be so upset. I'd be so upset. Oh man, I don't know how Juju did it, but to not be able to cuss for 16 days, boy, that'd be hard work for me. I don't know about y'all, but it'd be so hard for me. Anyway, say I called someone a bitch during one of the prohibited days while I was behind the wheel and another driver heard it and sought to harm me physically. That interaction could have been avoided if I did not curse them out. This is why taboos exist. And we learn about these taboos through spiritual teachers and practitioners who consult our spirits to give us insight into our lives. Not adhering to taboos is another way that can explain why we may be having an unfavorable experience. Okay. I remember being a part of a spiritual house and going through an initiation ceremony with someone who was expected to die from cancer in 6 months. Our Babalawo, high priest spiritual advisor within Ifa tradition, advised that my mate was to proceed through various initiation ceremonies at the request of this person's ancestors in order to address the spreading of the cancer. He followed through on his spiritual prescription and was cancer free a few months after his ceremonies. The work works. Oh, I'm sorry. Uh, what was that? The steady decline that his body was experiencing was speedily avoided. This example suggests that yes, he did need competent doctors to care for him through his diagnosis, but spiritual medicine, in addition to his medical care, is what we believe kept him alive and cancer free. One form of care is not greater than the other. However, spirit medicine does have the ability to give us insights into what may be causing us distress or concern. Sometimes the spirit will clearly tell us, go get that checked out or stop neglecting to take your medicine. Okay. This reminds me of another story from one of my clients about 3 years ago. This client was so stressed because they lived with a terrible roommate. They were trying to come up with the money to move out and were concerned about finding an apartment at that particular time of the year without having planned for a move. They sought a reading with me so that they could check in with their ancestors about how to get out of this living situation as soon as possible, find additional funds to move, and receive advice on where to live next. As I was consulting the ancestors, I heard very clearly that my client was not to worry about it. The spirits instructed that my client calm down and stop worrying about trying to move out because they wouldn't be moving and that the roommate situation was being taken care of. My client trusted this advice. 1 week later, they alerted me that their roommate randomly decided to move to Mexico and would be moving out within the next 2 weeks. Imagine the amount of stress my client averted by not attempting to move when they didn't need to. This is how ancestral advice has the power to support us and lessen some of our worries. Okay? The power of ancestral medicine, excuse me, the power of ancestral medicine and the ability to heal is one of the most powerful tools that we have. It gives us clear insight and can lessen so many concerns. Let me be clear though, this is not magic. I mean, it could be classified as such, but simply because you have ancestral medicine does not mean that your life is automatically perfect. Spiritual medicine does not allow you to live life completely free of stress. In fact, the medicine will remind you that as a human, stress and worry is kind of what we signed up for when we came to this plane. Oh, the ghetto. What is done though is I'm sorry. What it does do though is give us resources to address those worries and that stress. Spiritual medicine through ancestral connection takes time. It is quite literally a lifelong journey and perhaps exists into the afterlife. Do not think that because you prayed to your ancestors one day, life will be perfect the next day. It definitely does not work like that. Many successful practitioners have been at this work for a few years and thus have a handle on their ancestral court and spirit team. 1 month or even a year does not guarantee immediate success. As you will learn throughout your journey, your ancestors make shit a lot more favorable for you and less impossible. They'll give you doses of reality, a lot of love, and of course, miracles. I am a living testimony. Okay? Yes, they will. They will work it out for you. You just got to go to them and be consistent. You can't just be popping up crying when you want to. Oh, I need a mouse. Oh, good morning, Angelica, which was minutes. That been 15 minutes ago. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. I'm gonna make sure I go back on Facebook and reply to the comments. Ready? Okay. I'm not sure about your life, but my life ain't been no crystal stair. Okay, mine neither, girl. Mine neither. And although I had praying grandmothers and a loving family who did their best, it would have been nice to know that I could call on a great grandmother and complain about how her descendants are getting on my nerves, and then ask if she can step in and help. I do that a lot with my mama and my siblings. I'm not gonna lie, I be like, Mom, Calais, y'all better get them. Y'all gonna have to handle that because I can't do it. I can't do it by myself. Okay? Call them, y'all. It would have been it would have also been nice to know that there was a place for me to feel less alone through knowing who my ancestors were. It would have been soothing to seek their protections from abuse and perhaps have more clarity on the perceived lack of intervention that I felt. They could have helped me understand more clearly that abuse had been normalized in my bloodline and that many of them experienced it too. I've always experienced a lot of internal loneliness because of this, on top of the varying degrees of trauma in my lineage. Regardless of who was around me, I've always felt very different and misunderstood in a lot of my relationships. I never felt that I had a healthy place to sit my grief, which in turn led me to live with a lot of internalized pain. That pain and loneliness showed up through multiple suicide attempts, hospitalization, immense self harm, and a lot of self destruction. I want to be honest and note that a good spiritual life does not absolve a person from struggle or allow them to sidestep dealing with pain and sadness. But it has helped me to know that there's always more to my story. For me, being loved across dimensions has given me a different relationship to my feelings of loneliness. They have connected me to better people and severed relationships that contributed to me feeling lonely. My ancestors gave me somewhere other than inside my body to store my grief. They thought and teach. I'm sorry. They taught and teach me about the ongoing cycle of death, whether in the flesh or the little deaths I experience when things end in my life. Okay, because life is a series of death and rebirth. Okay, a series of deaths and rebirths, a cycle. They always replace what is taken and is always better. And it is always better. That I am always sure of. The ancestors are truly some of my favorite individuals to commune with because they do not feel like faraway deities that are too omnipresent or mysterious for the human mind to conceptualize. The ancestral spirits are amazing because they comprehend the many mysteries of what it means to be human. They understand the difficulties of getting up for work, making meals, being tired, and being in love. They are relatable because they know which creates an opportunity for a relationship based on mutual trust and understanding. It also helps that they have the power to heal, protect, and help us access some of the most exciting blessings that life has to offer. I don't know about you, but I could use all of that. I definitely could use all of that, Juju. How much we got left? Oh, yeah. Chapter 6 is a long one. I'm going to try to get through it, but I got to be done by 11 o'clock because I got some things to do. Okay? But I think I can get through. I stopped chit chatting. All right. Next section is demystifying ancestral work. I have to dip out now, lovely. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for being present and engaging, Gail. Enjoy your day. May it be awesome and expansive. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, demystifying ancestral work. Before we get to altar building, offerings, and some of the other ritualized ways to connect to our spirits, let's consider how to demystify these practices and remember that we don't need to start all of this from scratch. We've probably already engaged in ancestral work, even if we weren't fully aware of it. One of the ways that I like to explain the importance of ancestral connection to those that don't know much about it is that since I have known and had a relationship with my ancestors, some problems I simply don't deal with anymore. For example, I have a bad habit of speeding in my car, and before I had spiritual medicine and spiritual work, I would get pulled over all the time and get tickets. Now, if I'm pulled over, I always luck up with a warning. And if I do get a ticket, it is always dismissed without any points. I am absolutely not encouraging y'all to speed. And yes, I do need to slow down. But I have to acknowledge the fact that I'm divinely protected and good the majority of the time. I'm not promising you any of these specific realities. You may still be getting tickets and having hard, depressed days. Many people who do this work still are. What I can promise, however, is that having a practice one that gives you ways to address concerns can leave you with a lot less worry and much more information. And no matter what you do, you won't be alone. Ancestral work is a tool among many tools that we can add to our arsenals. Okay. Let me pause here. Take a sip of water. Let's do a water break. And I'm going to do some breath work real quick because all right, we're going to take some deep inhales. You know, breath work is grounding. It helps ground us, be here, be be present in this moment. Okay, I be getting tongue tied a lot, and that's because my brain be moving faster than my mouth be. That's what she said. Anyway, let's take a couple of seconds to ground in this and be present in this moment. All right, deep inhale in through the nose. Loud audible exhale through the mouth. And remember to push all of the oxygen out, especially if you are a smoker, okay? Or a vapor. Right? Because what you don't realize is that when you're just breathing, because that comes natural to us, we breathe very shallowly, right? And so that leaves some things in our lungs, in our breath tanks. So you want to push all of it out through the diaphragm so that when you're inhaling you know what I'm saying, you can get more fresh air in. Okay? Science. I really like this little thing. All right. Look, I had to take a vape break. Let's get back into it. Did I not plug this thing up? Y'all hold on, wait a minute. Because it looks like the laptop is dying. Oh man, I lost my place. That's it. Wait a minute. Because I really thought I had the laptop plugged up. There we go. Okay. It had unplugged. I'm so glad I looked at it. All right. Getting back to it. I once felt like a person who continuously had streaks of bad luck. Ooh. I often felt as if nothing was ever going right in my life. Now I don't have bad luck streaks in the same way. Things that are unfavorable absolutely happen, but it gets better a lot more quickly this time around. I know that I can get a reading and have something addressed while also getting clarity on why and how this situation is happening. And sometimes the reading is simply, you have to deal with this, but everything will be fine in the end, which is such a necessary reassurance for me. I love being able to know one way or the other because there are already enough problems and things I have to worry about and deal with, ancestors or not. Living this way, you'll be able to cross some of your concerns off your list, which frees your mind to deal with the BS you won't be able to avoid. That BS is just a part of the experience of being human. It will always remain just as the past remains. Those who came before us never actually leave us. That is an honest assessment of the never ending process of life and death. Of course, we know that everyone and everything must die at some point, and everyone will one day leave the physical plane. In many ways, death is the only process that we are certain to experience. Yet it still feels like a taboo and is absolutely an understudied topic in the Western world. However, when we look to ancient religions such as Ifa, we find that ancestral wisdom, life, nature, and death are all crucial parts of living a full life, one that will bring satisfaction and be thoroughly enjoyed. There are thousands of years of study and research that demonstrate the beliefs that ancestors have a hand in the success of communities. They were an active part of decision making and influenced the creation of rules, traditions, and ongoing relationships. This fact is severely ignored and often brushed off as superstition and woo woo stuff that doesn't have a place in a civilized society such as ours. Even the concept of civilized is full of inherently racist aversion to indigenous belief systems, depriving us of the centuries worth of knowledge. Okay. My journey to remembering ancestral wisdoms by studying Afro-Indigenous culture as well as the cultures, sayings, and beliefs of my own family members, has allowed me to move beyond my own limited understanding of the world, allowing me to better understand my identity. It has given me the courage to create the life that I want for myself, regardless of the ebb and flow of sadness, turmoil, and suffering. Okay, sorry, I just got a little headache. Just came in. Okay. My journey to remembering ancestral wisdoms. Okay, I'm sorry. Resilience is a word that is often projected onto Black people and other historically marginalized groups, lauding us for our ability to survive through hardship and crisis. We are often subjected to resilience as a default identity, and that unfortunately does not often allow us to be fully realized humans who are strong, but also very tired, fragile, and vulnerable. My ancestors have taught me that resilience is a learned behavior developed through repeated experiences that have required it. Stories about my ancestors surviving chattel slavery obviously speak to their resilience. But what about those that did not survive? What about the people who took the lives of their children so that they would not have to experience life on a plantation? Were they resilient? And who gets to decide that? Through regular ancestral communication, I know that resilience is one small fraction of who I am. And I have the opportunity to speak to the ones that were resilient or who were not, but whose blood still runs through my veins. Knowing the stories of the past gives me strength to nurture my own vulnerabilities. I get to see my ancestors as more than just resilient enough to endure hardship. Wait a minute. But where was that? Oh, there was something missing. Y'all, there's something missing. Wait a minute. What is? I get to see my ancestors as more than just resilient enough to endure hardship. Yeah. Okay. But oh, I see what she did here. Okay. Oh, okay. So there's an activity in the middle of it. That's what's missing. That's what I wasn't clicking, child. We'll come back to this ancestral imagination activity. Okay. But anyway, so I get to see my ancestors as more than just resilient enough to endure hardship, but also as people with depth, desire, and faults. They were strong and they were tired. They were nurses, farmers, and singers. They could have been royals, but I know they were farmhands, midwives, and conjurers. The stories are immense, and I'm still learning them. Some I may never know, but they continue to teach me through dreams, archival research, and my own desires, musings, and talents. I am blessed to be able to connect to the people who bestowed that gift on me. I get to be connected to a web of individuals who came before me, who made sacrifices so that I may live a little better than they did. I am not the first to experience depression, anxiety, or abuse, and I can commiserate with them because they've been through it. In the same way, I can celebrate my wins alongside those who came before me. I also get to teach them too about new ways of being and living. We provide each other answers to questions through divination and spirit consultation, further further strengthening our relationship and acknowledging that the relationship is mutually beneficial. For a moment, I'd like you to imagine a belief system that values your success and the success of your community and forges paths that connect you to the most favorable outcomes of your destiny. Now imagine having an infinite group of spirits who are ready and willing to support you and exist beyond the confines and struggles of humanness, which often causes our loved ones to fail us, even when they didn't mean to. Imagine that you could consult with these beings who have some of the best life and death advice, know how to deal with stressful jobs, have survived wars, falling in love, falling out of love, making money, having sex, raising babies, and being gay. and are a dynamic catalog of every other human experience under the sun. Imagine knowing that you are connected to these people intimately and divinely. Now, what if I told you that you don't have to imagine because you have that? You are engaging with my words. You have those spiritual allies ready and willing. I'm sorry. If you are engaging with my words, you have those spiritual allies ready and willing to support you through everything. Where we at? Yes, we're almost there. Do I want to go back and do? Hmm. No, I'm gonna finish the chapter and then we'll do the activity. That makes the most sense. An infinite and timeless love. Loving my ancestors, known and unknown, knowing that I have this entire spirit team of people rooting for me, has allowed me to experience a connection that I didn't know was possible. How could I doubt myself when I am made up of cells of all other people before me who made it? How could I speak poorly over myself knowing how could I how could I speak poorly over myself knowing that I am a collection of faces and bodies of so many people who have come before who came before me? I would never say that my ancestors were ugly, undeserving, or unlovable. And if I am made in their image, how could I say that about myself? I know a love that is not bound by the problems of the world, but infinite and timeless. Hey, Kanaya. I get to learn more about the people who surround me. We are always in some form of communication, whether I am speaking to them directly or if I am smelling my grandfather's scent as I pass an older man. I get to feel their love when I dream about family members after they have passed away. And even when I'm struck by the sense of being home while visiting certain places in the deep south or even the Caribbean. Intentional communication and cultivating ancestral relationships have given me the tools to feel more connected to my own body and enhance the ways that I'm able to relate to others. Beyond the material, spiritual, and financial gains that these connections have given me, most importantly, I've watched it heal myself and my community deeper than any other tool that I've ever used or practiced. I want you to recall your ancestral gifts so that you feel less alone too. I want you to know that you have lovers and warriors surrounding you through all your choices in life. And if you let them and learn to trust them, they can shift the trajectory of your life so that life doesn't just happen to you, but you get to experience it fully. Okay, that's beautiful. That's a word right there. I want my people, Black people, to know that our history is more vast than any history book and mainstream media will allow you to know. You are connected to some of the first scientists, beauticians, doctors, midwives, medicine people, and performers. You descend from not only royalty, but fishermen, cooks, iron welders, and witches. Someone somewhere in your lineage knows exactly what you are going through. And I want to support you. Excuse me. What was that? And I'm sorry. And I want you to feel supported through that. If there's one thing so many of us need, it's belonging, connection, and help. Okay. Because when I did not feel tribe in the physical realm, I definitely felt my spiritual tribe. Okay. Surrounding me, loving on me. Okay. If there's one thing so many of us need is belonging, connection, and help. I want us to use all of the resources that our spirits laid out for us so that we can help, so we can get that help. We can no longer trust that the news, media, and even some of our churches have our best interests at heart. It's clear that our ancestral religions have historically been considered demonic and even archaic ways to live, even by our own community. A reckoning is happening throughout the African diaspora, and people are seeking deeper connections because we instinctively know that there is more to our existence than what we've been told. We are feeling a pull to something else that extends beyond what has been deemed the acceptable way of engaging with spirit. And although building intentional relationships with the ancestors will not alleviate all ills and problems of the world, it can help you uncover pieces of your personhood that would be otherwise hidden and unknown. Your ancestors will solidify your moralities, stretch your emotional capacities, and change your worldwide view. They will remind you of your destiny, advise you on your decisions, and love you even when you fail to do any of that. They will exercise patience because they, of all people, understand, although they may cuss you out when you slip up. Even when you make bad choices, they will love you. I want you to know that you are so deeply loved, understood, and seen. And my offering is to remind you of all of the people that left you the medicines to deal with the personal, mental, spiritual, and societal ills. As you do this work, you will be challenged. As you do this work, you will be challenged. You will be, and you will disagree. Hey, Renee. Just remember that your ancestral spirits want what's best for you, the lineage and the bloodline, even though sometimes we are just not interested in that. And you have a right to a difference of opinion. In that case, your ancestors will teach you how love can still be present in the midst of disagreement. Pause. That is one thing that I really had to work on, and that is really helping me in parenting my kid, because as you all know, in 2017 my mother transitioned and our relationship had just started to get better. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't good, it wasn't great, but it was much better than what it used to be. Because one thing about it was my mom used to tell me all the time that I was too smart for my own good. You know what I'm saying? Because I questioned everything. And when I say I questioned everything, that included my mother, my grandmother, my dad, my everybody. If it didn't sit right in my childish spirit, I was gonna question them. Okay. However, now in working on a lot of these things in the spiritual realm and through ancestral veneration, I have come to understand and give myself more grace. Okay. And give my spirits more grace. And also giving my daughter more grace. Because let me tell you, if you raise them right, they're gonna question you. If you raise them to not be walked over, then how do you think you're going to walk over them? How do you think you're just gonna tell them anything and they just go for it? Okay, I'm just saying. You will not like them all the time. You may even wonder if you have lost your mind and if you're worshiping demons. But trust that you will be understood. And when you're not understood by one ancestor, you will be understood by Uncle Terry or Olotu, your great times 25 grandfather. You are not alone. You are not alone. Okay? Your ancestors are not your ops. And you'll learn that as you develop your relationship with them. Your ancestors are not God either. And they will not make your life perfect, which you will also learn quickly. It's like one of the first lessons. You'll definitely battle the urge to yell, "Why would y'all let that happen to me?" Oh my God. There's so many times I have asked that question, like, why y'all let this happen? Why y'all didn't block this? And as I've been reading through this book, y'all, I just want to notate that as I read, I am also listening to Juju Bay's podcast. And it's so odd what all is going on in my mind, y'all. I'm telling you, a lot be going on in my mind as I'm reading because I've been following Juju Bay since the very beginning. So I've probably missed a few episodes recently in the last month or two, but since 2017, everything that I'm now reading to y'all, podcast. This is all stuff from her podcast. Go check out the podcast. I'm telling y'all, all you need is a little Juju. I will. Why would you let? Yep. Why would y'all let that happen to me? When something bad happens in spite of the connection you've established, and then you will have to reckon with whatever answer you receive or don't from that question. Okay? I will remind you throughout this book that shit still happens. It's just that if you do this work, you'll have better tools when it does. I want to quote one of my favorite Bible verses that my ancestors speak to me through as their way of reminding me that they are not my opponents, even when they're saying something I don't want to hear. It comes from Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. I absolutely love this verse because it reminds me that although I don't know what their plans are or why something shifted in my life the way that it did, my ancestors have good things brewing for me. In such an individually centered society, one where many of us have developed an aversion to trusting others, struggling with your ancestors and learning to let love in is one of the most pivotal and healing experiences that we can experience. Not to be cliche, but love is a powerful weapon. And through my connection with them, I have more of that protection and safety because I'm learning what love actually is. You also have ones that are going to war for you in every capacity. And that is the end of chapter 6. Yay, we made it! Thank you guys so much for listening to me read. I just really do be enjoying it, and it's helping my reading skills because, as you can hear, I just be reading and running on sentences. That's the brain. That's the way my brain be going. But go get the book so you can follow along and read it on your own, and also Audible. It's available on Audible. Okay. So I said at the end of the chapter, I would go back and read the ancestral imagination activity. However, it is now 11 o'clock and I gotta run. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post it in my stories. So y'all get into it and y'all go check it out if you want to do this ancestral imagination activity. Okay. I may even go live later. And I might do that. Yeah, I might go live later. I don't know. But anyway, the books are open. Y'all come holler at your girl if you want to tap in with your ancestors, your spirit guides. You know your niggas on high. I am here. The DM is open. If you have any questions about ancestral veneration, I told y'all I will give you the information that I have learned, and I have learned from this beautiful woman. So I'll send you her video. Because if you go on YouTube and you type in Juju Bay, it's Juju Bay. Okay? Go on YouTube, you'll find a lot of her videos. And she has one about ancestral veneration and putting your altar together if you would like to get ahead of the book. However, the next chapter chapter 7, which I was going to try to get to, but we ran out of time because I didn't realize chapter 6 was so much more longer. The next chapter is Ancestors Are Everywhere, Babies, Bones, and Bibles. Okay, and that's gonna be a juicy one. This one's long. So yeah. We'll do chapter 7 tomorrow morning. And before we do chapter 7, we'll go back. Yeah. We'll go back and do the ancestor imagination activity. That's how we'll flow with that. But I'm still going to share it in the story. So you can go ahead and do it. And then when we gather tomorrow, you already have it. Okay. I love you. I appreciate you. Go do your things. Have an awesome day. Okay. Yeah, it's Jupiter Day. It's planet of money, expansion. Okay. If you tapped into this live or listening to the playback, then you have participated in the energy of Jupiter because you are expanding your knowledge. Okay. You are expanding community. Okay. By engaging with me and other people. Okay. I love that. You see how all this connects and it's all a cycle. Okay. Let the circle be unbroken. Okay. By and by, Lord. By and by. All right. I'm done. It's 11 o'clock for real. I got to get out of here. I'll see y'all later. Peace. Close